For a decade, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were one of Hollywood's most famous couples from the scandalous way their relationship began in 2005 after Brad Pitt famously ditched Jennifer Aniston of Friends fame for Angelina Jolie after they starred in their blockbuster film, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, to the births and adoptions of 6 different children. They were married in 2014, but announced their separation in September 2016, a total of less than 2 years they were married when Brangelina, which is Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, filed for divorce. On June 12th, court documents showed that Jolie was in danger of losing primary custody if she didn't take steps to improve the relationship between some of her children and Brad Pitt. So today we have Meghan Buckwalter, our super lawyer, matrimonial lawyer, family lawyer extraordinaire from Spar and Bernstein. She's joining me to discuss the entire Brangelina situation with Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, what this means for their arrangements with their children, and how they could move forward. A judge recently ordered a change in the custody agreement. They got 6 kids.
Yeah.
Okay, some of them they adopted from Africa.
Yep.
Some they have together. Maddox 16, Pax 14, Zahara 13, Shiloh 12, and they got twins Knox and Vivian. The judge ordered a change in custody. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, up until now, Angelina Jolie had sole physical custody. Brad Pitt was visiting. There was some alleged incident with Brad Pitt on a plane drinking. I know that led to the filing that's going on, led to the divorce proceeding. And what happened was the court issued a decision stating that Angelina Jolie could be at risk for losing her kids and losing sole physical custody if she did not start supporting the relationship between her children and Brad Pitt.
Now, what do you mean by sole physical custody? That doesn't mean legal custody. Those are 2 different terms, right?
Right.
So they were jointly responsible for raising the children. What
Yeah.
does sole physical custody mean? Brad Pitt doesn't get to see his kids?
Nope, that's not what it means. Physical custody just means that the children were residing, physically living with Angelina Jolie at least more than 51% of the time. So Brad Pitt had visitation, whatever their visitation agreement was, but Angelina Jolie was the primary physical custodian, and that also entitles her to receive child support.
And Brad Pitt went into court and said this shouldn't be the arrangements anymore because Angelina Jolie was talking crap about him, basically, to the
Pretty
kids.
much.
Is that basically what happened?
Yeah, that is basically what happened. The court actually issued a pretty firm decision stating that Angelina Jolie had to tell the kids that they're actually safe in Brad Pitt's care, that she had to support that relationship, tell them that they need to visit with their father, that it's healthy for them to visit with their father, and that they shouldn't be scared or feel unsafe while they're with him, which leads me to believe that she was severely alienating the kids if the court had to have such explicit language in its order.
Is that common to have such a strict guideline?
I mean, it is and it isn't. It depends on the circumstances. In this kind of case where there's allegations of safety concerns or there's allegations of alienation, then yes, the court wants to make sure that the custodial parent is fostering a relationship with the visitation parent.
There's a big difference between estrangement and alienation. Those are 2 big words. Break it down for us.
So estrangement is really when the child and the parent don't have a great relationship because of something the parent did. Maybe, dad yells at them a lot, or mom won't let them do what they want to do, or is very strict, or disciplines them physically. That breaks down the relationship between the child and the parent because of what the parent did. Alienation is when one parent is really bad-mouthing the other parent to the kids, saying your dad doesn't love you, your dad doesn't want you to be around him, your dad's doing X, Y, and Z. So one of the parents is actually alienating the kids from the other parent.
So in this particular case, the judge was talking about alienation.
That's what it sounds like.
The bad-mouthing by Angelina Jolie about Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Now, Jolie filed for divorce right after there was a rumored fight on their private jet.
Yes.
Between Brad Pitt and their eldest son, Maddox. And the claim was that Pitt was drunk on the jet, became verbally abusive and physically abusive to the 16-year-old child. The FBI came in to investigate. The Los Angeles Department of Child Services came in to investigate. And they came up with absolutely nothing other than what Angelina Jolie was making claims for. Could any of these allegations have been used in court by Jolie had it been confirmed as true against Brad Pitt, and what could she have done? And is the fact that there was an allegation and nothing materialized from it just because there was no criminal activity, which is the burden is much higher than in a family court.
Right.
Can she still bring this up in family court to try to get at Brad Pitt? Because the burden of proving that he did something is certainly much lower in family court, I believe, than in criminal court.
Absolutely. If there had been some findings of wrongdoing, then it definitely would help support anything that Angelina Jolie was trying to do in court. So if she was trying to limit the visitation or set some sort of supervision, if the Children's Services had determined that the kid's safety was at risk, then that would have helped support her in court. The fact that there were no wrongdoings found means that these allegations really can't be used against him in court. But to your question, absolutely. Even if there's no criminal investigation, it doesn't lead to criminal charges. If it's still found to have happened, it absolutely can be used against you in family court. The burdens are completely different, which is why a lot of people have maybe a Children's Services case in family court and they don't have a criminal case pending regarding the allegations.
What if Brad Pitt gets custody of these children? Does he still have to pay child support and maintenance to Angelina Jolie?
Well, the child support, no. If he were granted sole physical custody,
then
he wouldn't be paying child support.
Angelina Jolie would be paying him child support.
Correct. Maintenance, which is alimony or spousal support, that's completely different. It's totally separate from who has the children, so that would still remain the same.
Now, 3 of the children are their biological children.
Right.
3 have been adopted over the lifetime. Does that have any bearing on this?
No.
None at all.
No. The adopted children are legally the same as any biological children. So in terms of custody arrangements, visitation, things like that, whether or not the kids were adopted versus born to the parents doesn't matter. Once they're adopted, they're legally their children.
So after the judge ordered Angelina to stop bad-mouthing Brad Pitt, is this going to be the end of it, you think, or there's going to be more?
I highly doubt it will be the end of it. I mean, one thing the court did do was allow the oldest kid, Maddox, to have a choice as to when he goes to see Brad Pitt, what visitation he has, because he is 16 years old, and the older the children get, the more preference they get. So I assume that not only will probably the bad-mouthing continue, but also as the children get older, I would think that Angelina Jolie's attorneys would go back to court to try to get that same type of relief for the kids.
Now, Maddox says he wants to spend less time with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, it's basically that the court,
which would lead that the allegations may have been true.
Right.
Now, if he doesn't get, he doesn't want to spend any time with Brad Pitt, so Brad Pitt really doesn't have any visitation or any relationship with Maddox.
Right.
Does that change Brad Pitt's child support payments?
It could, but not really, especially if the court feels like it is not alienation and it's really the child's preference. It would be an argument for Brad Pitt's attorneys to say, look, I'm not seeing this kid and it's because of Angelina Jolie, I shouldn't have to pay child support. If there is actual alienation going on, the person who is being denied access to their kids may not have to pay child support, but it would be an uphill battle.
So is there a case that you ever handled that was fraught with, child custody? I'm sure lots of them.
Yes.
Where you were successful in making your client the primary custodian or getting fair visitation for your client?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just finished a case where there's 2 children. There was a lot of allegations between the parents. There's a lot of allegations of mental health issues and substance abuse. We had to have a forensic done, which is where a forensic psychologist has to be involved and interview the parents. And at the end of everything, the forensic supported our client, supported our position that our client was the better parent, and our client was able to get custody.
Do you usually have to bring in experts in these situations?
It's not every time, but if there's major concerns, yes.
What would be the concerns that you would bring in an expert? And does that usually sway the judge?
Yeah, so the purpose of the forensic is to meet with both parents. If there's any mental health concerns, if there's major alienation, allegations, substance abuse, things like that, and there really is no resolution or any sort of common ground, if we're going to have to go to trial over custody, then a lot of times the court requires a forensic, and the forensic evaluation at the end is to make a recommendation to the court as to custody.
Is this forensic generally ordered by the court and the parties agree on who this forensic is going to be, or is it a dueling forensics where the husband comes in with a forensic and the wife comes in with a forensic?
No, it's court ordered. The parents' attorneys propose a couple that they each want, and the judge will pick if the attorneys can't pick one together.
And you don't know what this forensic's going to come up with, but in this particular case, the forensic was on our side, and eventually our client got what he or she needed.
Yeah, I mean, they're risky. If you have a client and you're not on the winning end of that argument, you may be fighting against getting the forensic done. But for us, we knew that our client would prevail and would look good for her to have the forensic done. So we fought for it to have a forensic evaluation completed.
Well, fantastic job. I'm sure we're going to have you back soon,
Absolutely.
because I would assume that Angelina and Brad are not done. They'll be back in
Yeah.
court shortly,
Yes.
like most battling couples.
Unfortunately, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, if you find yourself in that situation as a battling couple, either in New York or Connecticut, the states where Meghan practices matrimonial law, give her a call, and she'll be happy to speak with you. She's a fantastic lawyer. She's been voted to Super Lawyers several years running right now, and she is running and managing the Spar and Bernstein Matrimonial and Family Law Department. Meghan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course, the telephone number for Meghan is 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465, which is the same number to call to get on our show.
Absolutely.
And of course, I do have to tell everybody that prior successful results don't guarantee us some outcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.